Hi, friends, welcome to another episode of The Everyday Grind, where we have short conversations on solving common challenges that we face every day, share our experiences, learn from each other, and stay aware of events going on around us. I'm your host, William Obiana. And at the end of the episode, if you would like to share your thoughts on the topic, please feel free to drop a chat on Twitter and Instagram at William Obiana. So let's get right into it. So, after the World Economic Forum annual meeting that happened in Davos, a lot of businesses and corporations they came together to discuss what is their plans for this year and beyond. And they brought together a couple of their data that they've aggregated and analyzed and saw that they were looking to slow down on their hiring process after the COVID, because during the COVID they hired a lot of people and now the things are beginning to affect their balance sheet, so they needed to cut down most of the people that they had hired. Essentially, I believe it's a mistake on their end because they shouldn't have done that, but they thought maybe they wanted to capitalize on the particular trend that was happening then. They also saw that they needed more people in specialized fields like cybersecurity, cloud engineering, some people to handle some business operations that were going on in the business, like very specific skill sets. So they needed to be hiring people who were strong in these particular fields. And they also saw the benefits of cutting off some of the staff, upskilling the current talents that they have to do multiple roles. So, for example, if they had people in engineering handling the front end, they would have liked to upskill them to also handle the back end, essentially paying one person to do two jobs. Obviously, they were going to benefit a lot from this. And currently in the workforce, the generations that have the highest populations are millennials and Gen Zs, right? And because of the way that technology is actually advancing so fast, there is a lot of new positions that are being opened to the millennials and the Gen Zs that we can capitalize on. So as businesses and organizations are looking to take advantage of us, we might as well like to take advantage of them by getting access to their resources, learning what we can, and actually leveraging the information that we have to ensure that we are always going to remain paid. So for the rest of this episode, we'll be talking about some of the things that we could do which are quite obvious and some that are not so obvious in industries in general. So starting out is definitely going to be tech skills and digital skills, which has actually become very important today in the workforce. I mean, every professional that is going to be working in the workforce today needs to have some basic understanding of the technologies that's out there. So your technology quotient has to be average, get to understand the basic concepts around it. And the growth of the technology sector is always going to be in high demand, especially for those who are specialized. The more specialized you are, the more valuable you are, right? And millennials and Gen Zs right now, they're especially valuable because they coming into the workforce, their brain is still young and they have the chance to actually learn faster than the older guys and improve. And it's very crucial for these generations to actually have a good understanding of the technology landscape, because not all the technology skills are equal. Some are easier than others, some are really difficult and takes a long time to really master. So it depends on your particular space in life right now, and it's like, do you need a job urgently, or are you looking to get the skill for the future so you can remain relevant? So depending on where you are currently in life, you can decide where you want to position yourself. And some of the technology skills that you can have and are also in demand is web development or full stack, because having just a typical web development wouldn't be enough. So you would want something full stack where you can do both front and back, and they can be able to retain you because you'll be valuable. Another thing would be the sciences, the data sciences, which might be data science, data analysis, data engineering, or this can transition all the way to machine learning engineering and so on and so forth. Another would be cloud computing, cybersecurity, and the very common ones around business operations can be like digital marketing, where if you're a marketer, it's going to be essentially useful for you to understand the concepts around search engine optimization, pay-per-clicks. And if you're a salesperson, it's also in your best interest to have some concept of marketing, because marketing and sales are beginning to blend, and so on and so forth. So staying up to date on technology trends would actually help you as a young millennial or Gen Z looking to improve yourself and gain success in the industry. The next is social media and content creation. So after the early 2000s, the birth of social media happened, and ever since then it had begun to grow and grow, and basically millennials were born during this era, and Gen Zs were also introduced into this era as well. So it was basically the era of digital communication, online marketing, and it has become a very important component for businesses right now. Businesses cannot function without social media essentially, since that is where their customers are hanging around and they need access to these tools to actually communicate with their customers, right? So they want to build relationships and strengthen their existing relationships and so forth. Now, because of this, the demand for social media professionals and digital marketing professionals has begun to grow. So, because there are some nuances around this in these particular fields that somebody that is experienced in the field can actually be very valuable to a business owner, because they would know how to actually position the business in such a way that they can grow their brand online. So again, content creation is very, very important, and the beauty about it is that it actually encompasses a lot of roles. So in just content creation, you can have social media managers, you can have bloggers, there are influencers, you can have people involved in the media side of things like videographers and photographers and so forth. And the key to all of the successes of these roles is being able to provide quality content for these businesses. And as this content is quality and resonates with the audiences, they would begin to engage more with the brand, and a lot of businesses value this a lot. So being someone who is specialized in this skill set makes you almost like in demand. It's like a gold rush out there. So by you being able to leverage your skill and keep growing and improving in these places where you're able to show your value, you're definitely going to see a very successful career in this field. Another underrated field is the healthcare and biotechnology industries. Now, healthcare is very peculiar in the sense that it's only for specific individuals, and this is where the educational system is still very valuable. Like obviously during the time of the industrial ages, it was a very prestigious thing for you to be a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, but as the digital revolution actually happened, those prestigious jobs just became meh, and now they are just there specifically because workers can't work without a good healthcare system. So doctors are still important, nurses are still important, medical technology professionals are still important, scientists and researchers are still important, because if these types of people don't exist anymore, healthcare as an industry is going to collapse, and that will mean the overall well-being of humans would actually decline. So it takes people that have a certain level of passion in this industry to actually make it work. Regardless, it's important, and surprisingly there's a shortage of them. I mean, a bunch of people would go to medical school, but only a handful of people would actually graduate to become the doctors, the nurses, and the medical professionals that are going to be giving their day-to-day care for people. And with the dawn of technology as well, things are beginning to change, because regular doctors is no longer sufficient. As a doctor, you need to have some idea of how telemedicine works, so that you'll be able to deliver your services not just in person but also online as well. And as a doctor, you need to have the basic knowledge about using electronic health records, since the old use of files and case studies is now being replaced with health records. So you need to have some tech savvy skills on how to query a record and how to use it. So this also brings like a new era of doctors who have some level of technical expertise, right? Also in the field of biotechnologies, and people who are working in terms of genetics, bioinformatics, drug development for pharmaceutical companies, it's also important for them to have some technical experiences. But the only difference with this is that the more you're in the field, the more you need to have higher level of certifications for you to be able to deliver your value. So although this is like going the traditional educational route, merging it with technology still makes you stand out, because even if you didn't merge it with technology, you still have some value, but adding technology into it makes you very, very valuable. And if most people are thinking about it from the financial point of things, again, based on the law of economics, demand and supply, the more rare you are as a specialist in your field, the more money you can charge. So you can put that into perspective as well. And finally, entrepreneurship and trade. Now, entrepreneurship can take on many different forms. You can launch a tech startup, you can open up a brick and mortar based trade business, you see a problem in your community, in your environment, and you're able to solve this, you're going to get heavily rewarded for this, because it requires you to be creative and innovative, and also it gives you the opportunity to actually make a positive impact in the society in which you're located. But it's also not as glamorous as people make it out to be, because entrepreneurship is very, very stressful. In short, for every entrepreneur that you are seeing today, there is at least 5 to 10 people who failed and gave up. But on the flip side of all this, entrepreneurship is also very rewarding, because you're taking a very high, like a massive risk, trying to make something out of nothing, and the reward is also going to be high. For high risk, high, you get a high reward. Another thing you need to also understand is that entrepreneurship requires you to study a lot. You need to know a lot about the industry that you're looking to compete in. You need to know a lot about the economy in which you're located in, both local and global. And you also have to endeavor to track the important indicators for this particular economy, such as the labor market, the GDP growth rate for that country, the interest rates and how it's going, the customer confidence for the particular product or service that you're looking to deliver, the stock markets to measure the overall health of the economy, and so on and so forth. You need to pick out the important metrics that will be helpful to make key decisions that would help you pivot and adjust yourself to whatever the economy throws at you. To round it up, there's a very popular quote from Abraham Lincoln, which I love so much and I believe is relevant to this discussion we had today. It says the best way to predict the future is to create it. And this basically means, like, it's highlighting the importance of taking control of your own career, of your own future, and you're not just going to be sitting down and waiting for opportunities to come to you. Even though it's nice to obviously wait for things to come to you, but you need to be proactive, do some research, go out there and seek opportunities on how you can actually influence your environment and actually pivot and position yourself in growing fields. So you need to study a lot about what's going on around you and have the insight on knowing where to position yourself so that opportunities can come your way faster. So this brings us to the end of the episode. Hope you enjoyed it and got some value from it. Don't forget to rate us on Spotify and share with a friend that you think might actually also get some value from this. So stay tuned for the next discussion. Until then, take care and bye bye.